Zombie.
Seal.
No, I'm a vicious animal.
Seal.
You're a vicious animal?
Yes.
A badger.
No. I'm a lion.
Lion.
And I'm badgering.
That's terrible. Try this. It's a dragon. All right, here, I'll show you my beer.
No, it's okay.
No, family show.
The family show.
Family show.
Oh, all right, all right. I'll do fish imitations.
It's a family show.
It's a perch.
That was awfully fishy.
You ever seen a perch? Here, slide over a little. There you go. You slide over that. There we go.
They're perching together.
Oh, perching. I got it.
I'm a
Yeah.
grouper.
Oh,
No, you're a gopher.
You know they're fish.
Oh, it's a family show.
But you know this fish, right?
oh, it's a tuna fish.
I'm a tuna fish.
Mostly fish.
You just leave me dumbfounded. Or you found me dumb.
Then
Or is
they
it
can-
them?
Well,
or is it
obviously,
them floundered?
obviously I'm a flounder. Yes.
Yeah.
yes.
What?
Can you see?
Not really.
Want to try moving down?
Oh, thank you.
I've got the information. See that sweet little
So I will give you the history of England because I'm supposed to be Granny Grew, but I'm not. I didn't grow. And she actually lost her voice, and we've looked everywhere and can't find it. So I am going to tell you about the history of England from its humble beginnings to the pineapple of perfection that it is today. Now, I mean, as everybody knows, England is the most beautiful country, so it should come as no surprise to any of you that the Garden of England actually is in England. The Garden of Eden is in England. And there was the beautiful Garden of England in Eden.
Thank you, sir. You as well.
And it was beautiful, and there was this great tree of knowledge.
Get one of your sticks. Yes, there you go.
There was this twig of knowledge, and there was this great twig of knowledge, and Adam and Eve were happy, living in the Garden of Eden, and they were naked.
No!
Family show.
Family show.
It's going to take all the fun out of history.
It's not a show, at least.
So they ate of these apples, and God threw them out of Eden. And they became cavemen. Now, the English cavemen are very well known for their many inventions. They were great inventors. They invented fire. How much time do I have for a show?
Not enough time.
Not enough time.
No.
All right. And they also are famous for their invention of the wheel, which I will demonstrate. It went like this.
Your step.
Ah! Ow! Oh! Look what I've discovered. I've discovered the wheel. We could play frisbee. We could eat cheese. Oh, what a wonderful invention. I shall cherish it. Now the cavemen went back into their caves, but they also worshipped the sun and the moon. They would go, oh sun, oh golden orb out in the sky, oh heavenly orb. And then there were the other ones who would go, oh moon, oh glorious, large orb Then, but there was usually an eclipse at that point, so we won't go into that. But the cavemen went back into their caves, and the next to come out were the Picts. Now, the Picts of England were a dirty people. Yeah. Now, they would paint themselves all over with this blue goopy stuff called woad, and that was so that they could paint pictures on themselves. But they also used it as a form of courtship. I didn't know if you knew that.
Right.
No, you didn't. You've never heard of the woad to wooing?
I tried not to.
And so the Picts were very big on the whole courtship thing. But then came the Romans. Yeah, I'm just Roman.
I used to be Roman before the accident.
Yeah. Now the Romans and the Picts fought terribly. Now the thing about the Romans is they had armor, and they came in these large battalions, whereas the Picts were naked.
No, family show.
No.
Imagination.
All right.
Yes.
They were also, they worked in smaller bands, and they were known as Blue Man groups. And the Blue Man groups would come drumming like this. And there'd be, you know, all this stuff flying and everything, and then would come the warriors screaming their heads off, but the Romans won. And so the Picts went away and the Romans stayed around, and they had toga parties, and it was wonderful. But they were a little worried about invasions from the north, like Scotsmen, scary people. So they built this thing called Hadrian's Wall, which I would like to demonstrate, but it was 60 miles wide and 15 feet high. And how much time do I have?
Not enough.
Not enough, so we'll skip that. But there was Hadrian's Wall. Now the first to invade were the Celts. Now the Celts were a dirty people.
I think you need more mud.
Dirtier than the Picts.
There's more mud.
And the Celts fought with the Romans, but the Romans prevailed. So the Celts went back north, and then came the Scotsmen. Now the Scotsmen are famous for their inventions. One of their inventions were these things called bagpipes, which were made from inflatable sheep parts. Now another great invention that people don't remember that the Scotsmen invented were inflatable sheep. But bagpipes were wonderful, you know, like that. Now the truth actually is, for those that don't know this, that actually the Irish invented bagpipes, and the Scotsmen just never got the joke. But now let's be fair. Scotsmen invented golf as a joke, and none of you ever got that. So it's only fair. Now, the Scotsmen are also famous for their keen fashion sense. They looked at the togas and they said, "Oh, white, it's so last year." So they came up with they came up with plaids. And it was a wonderful break from all that white that everybody else was wearing. And now the Scotsmen fought with the Romans, and the Romans looked at the Scotsmen who were going like that with their kilts, and they said, "We're going to go to France, where they actually like good fashion." And so they went and they left, and there were the Scotsmen. And they decided to hang around for a while, but the next to invade came from across the sea, and they were known as the Angles and the Saxons. Now the Angles, of course, are well known for their sea-faring, they were good with boats. And they came across the ocean And they fought with the Scotsmen. They were also well known for their fact that they wore angles. That's why they were called angles. And they had stripes. Now, the Saxons, naturally from Germany, so they had polka dots. They were kind of like this. And, ooh. Hey, does that remind you what I had last winter?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm better now.
Good.
Now, the Scotsmen and the Angles and the Saxons clashed horribly. Now, there's these women that have told me it's because that stripes and zigzags and plaids and polka dots don't go together, so of course they would clash. But I don't understand it myself. I think it's a chick thing. But anyways, the Scotsmen said enough of this and they went back north. And that left the Angles and the Saxons, who got together and became the Anglo-Saxons. And they formed 3 kingdoms. To the west, called Wessex, and to the south, called Sussex, and to the east, called Essex. And all the monks and the nuns traveled north to no sex. And the Angles and the Saxons lived for a long time and they were very happy. But there wasn't much really going on. Things got kind of dark. And then came the great King Arthur. Oh, not only a great man, but a great inventor, because he invented chivalry. Because before then we had everybody whacking each other over the head and there was no chivalry. But now imagine you have 2 knights. And the first knight goes, "I shall not fight thee, for thou art unarmed. Arm thyself, sir." And the other one goes, "I shall arm myself. Ha ha, I am ready to face you." And the other one goes, "You're ready to face me." Like that. Ooh. Like that. And then that was called chivalry. And it was a wonderful invention. Of course, the best invention of all time was the round table, which was wonderful because before the invention of the round table, people would go to the pubs and they would have to put their ale right there on the floor, and people would kick it, and there would be ale everywhere. It was a tragedy. But now you get these round tables like this, and they can hold like, what, 5, 6 mugs at once, and they're all up there, and nobody kicks them on the floor, and there's ale for everyone. It's fantastic. Now, there was also a great knight that was living at the same time as King Arthur, known as Sir Lancelot, who also invented a new way of wooing. I shall demonstrate. Hello, are you married?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah. You married?
Yeah.
Come with me. Well, it worked for him. Anyway. Now, the best invention of all time came right after that. But first, how many people have now shaken hands with me or gotten a hug from me? Here, stand up. Stand up. There you go. Congratulations! You've got the plague.
Right.
Make a coffee hacking sound. There you go. Now the plague was running rampant everywhere. And there were people dying if it hadn't been for the greatest invention of all time.
Yes.
Mud beggars. Anyways, before then, people were dying everywhere, but mud beggars said, wait, we will cover ourselves with mud. And then we can hug everyone and we won't get the plague. Now, you've looked at portraits of the plague. Have you ever seen a dead mud beggar? Are there any dead mud beggars in history? When you look at how many people died every day in cities in Europe, how many of them were mud beggars? Exactly. Yes, mud beggary has existed to this very day because we discovered how to defeat the Black Plague. I thank you very much. And anyways, if you have any questions about the history of England, I could answer your questions. If not, thank you very much.
The dirtiest man I know.
Yes, I know everything there is to know about England. Oh, I could tell you all the different ways there are of wooing. I could tell you about the Latin language.
And stay tuned for Mischief Managed, an a cappella group that will sing. Right?
Acapella-ly. This is wonderful.
But they left their instruments at home.
You know about the Latin they spoke?